In this video, we're looking at a behavioral theory, which is a psychological theory that is very important, has been the base of research and a lot of information coming from this. So we're going to take a look at this closely to have a clear understanding of what behavioral theory is and how it's applied in society. Okay, so let's begin. So behavioral theory contends that all human behavior evolves around the environment, right? So this is very critical because it's talking about the environment. The environment is key here. The environment is very, very important in the equation. And why is that, right? Because the environment shapes us. The environment, we are the environment are also essentially, right? So we are a product of our environment. And depending on the environment you're raised in, you behave accordingly. And that's why people from different parts of the world behave differently, because they were raised in different environments. All right, so he says here, as a matter of fact, let's go back to the beginning. He says, behavioral theory contends that all human behavior, and this is key here, all human behavior evolves around their environment, right? So the environment, once again, is very critical to the identity, to their behaviors, how they interact with people, their point of views, the worldviews, etc. In other words, they react to the environment, or the environment influences who they are, right? The environment influences who they are. And now the question is, what is in the environment? Or a better question is, who is in the environment, right? So we find a lot of elements in the environment, like family is in the environment. Family is very critical. Family influences us. We are born into a family. We assume the identity of the family. We assume all aspects of the identity of the family: religion, culture, way of life, lifestyle, etc. School is in the environment. We spend several hours at school, right? We spend several hours at school. Teachers influence us. Our classmates influence us. And those around us at school influence us. So school is in the environment. Media is in the environment. Right, this is media. It's an environment as well. And media is so influential, especially today with traditional and social media. Right, traditional media being TV, newspapers, and radio, and social media, which we all know is so far-reaching. Millions and millions of people, log on to social media every day, have social media accounts, and go on those accounts to take a look as to what's going on around the world, etc. So media is in the environment, and friends are in the environment as well. We have culture in the environment, and we have government in the environment as well, and many other institutions in the environment, etc. These are the influencing factors. These are the elements that influence us, and that's why this theory is contending that all human behavior evolves around the environment. Again, these are the elements in the environment that are responsible for influencing the individual. All right, so it goes further to say the theory further contends that humans are like a disk, right? Like a blank disk. When they are born with nothing on the disk, so like a blank disk, you go to the store, you buy a blank disk, and there's nothing on it. Now, the disk will be identified by what's on it. Right, the content that is on it will identify the disk, and that is a very perfect example because the disk is neutral when it is purchased, and it begins to be shaped by its owner by the content that is put on it. Right, so the theory further contends that humans are like a disk. When they are born with nothing on it, the disk is shaped by its owner by its content. Right. The content on the disk begins to define the disk. So, for example, if the disk has a lot of scientific data, it becomes the disk with scientific data, right? You can refer to the disk as the one with scientific data. If it has a lot of, let's say, songs, then it becomes the disk with songs, right? So it is defined by its owner. So the owner represents the environment. They learn as they grow, right? So humans learn as they grow through interactions and associations. And again, those interactions are shaped by the elements of society, right? These elements of society, right? So by associations, we can link this to this. Interactions, we can link this to this as well, right? So they go through interactions and associations that shape their behaviors. Therefore, their behavior is not genetic. This is a critical point. Let's take note of this. Their behavior is not genetic. What does that mean? It means it's not natural. Natural. It's not natural. Not natural. It's not innate. They're not born with it. Why? It's not genetic, but environmental. Again, influenced by environmental. And now we see this with people born and raised in different parts of the world. Right? Somebody born in Africa, for example, and somebody born in Asia, for example. We have different values. We have different view of life and so forth. They are all human beings, but different values, different view of life, and that means it is not genetic, but environmental, because they were raised in different environments with different value systems, with different norms and different traditions and so forth, customs, etc. So innate or inherited factors have little influence on behavior, right? Innate, natural, or inherited natural factors have little influence on behavior. This is very interesting. This is a very interesting point here, and begin to understand how behavioral theory shapes human beings, shapes behavior based on the environment and based on all of the interaction associations in the environment. All right, let's take a look at this one more time. So behavioral theory contends that all human behavior evolves around the environment. So the environment is key here. Let's take note of this. The environment is very, very important here. In other words, they react to the environment or it influences who they are. And we've already established who's in the environment, the elements in the environment. The theory further contends that humans are like a disk when they are born and with nothing on it, right? So they come with a blank slate, so to speak. That slate is shaped by the owner. The disk is shaped by its owner, by its content. The owner represents the environment. They learn as they grow through interactions, right? This is very important, interactions and associations, again with those elements we identified earlier that shape their behavior. Therefore, their behavior is not genetic, it's not natural. And again, another important point when we talk about behavioral theories, right? The behavior is not natural, it is environmental. And that's why, once again, you see people from different parts of the world behaving differently. They are all human beings. They are all human beings, but they're behaving differently. That's because it's environmental, right? Now, what's not environmental, that is genetic, is using animals as an example. Lions, it doesn't matter, lions in the wild, it doesn't matter, where they are, they will be aggressive. That's genetic. Right? If they're in Russia, they'll be aggressive. If they're in South Africa, they'll be aggressive. If they're in Brazil, they'll be aggressive. That's because it's genetic. However, when we talk about behavioral theory, we're talking about environmental factors that influence the individual. All right. So again, not genetic, but environmental, innate, or inherited factors, right? Natural. Once again, natural. This is also natural. Factors have little influence on the behavior. This is behavioral theory, a major psychological theory that influences how people see behaviors, that have been the base of research and a lot of knowledge content coming from this theory.